climb a tree.
Watch out.
Ah!
Hi there. Welcome to the Forbidden Limb Podcast, the podcast about the business side of board game design. My name is Richard New. I'm here as always with Jeremy Commander and Brian Hink. Today our discussion is going to be about why should I back a Kickstarter campaign instead of just waiting for a game to come out in the stores. What would you say to someone that's thinking that?
And I have to put myself in their shoes every time I make a new campaign, because I know I think about that, but I think a lot of other potential backers out there are thinking that same thing. So I need to make a campaign that is gonna give them a reason to back the campaign and not just wait for it to come out. And so there are a bunch of ways that we can do that. We could do early birds to get people to back, because that'll give them a lower price. We could just price it lower without even doing early birds. We can do Kickstarter exclusive stuff. Now this is just stuff that the only way you will ever get this thing is if you back the campaign, or time limited Kickstarter exclusive stuff. So maybe for 3 months you only get this special thing.
Jeremy's talked about this in the past that you recommend doing it that way instead, because it does suck to have a game and going, I'm never going to be able to get that.
Learn that lesson the hard way in the TCG space, and Jamie Stigmeyer has also learned that lesson the hard way with Stonemeyer Games.
Yeah. I have learned that also with, we have one card in Good Cop, Bad Cop when we did the first campaign called Deliriant. That is the only thing we said was Kickstarter exclusive. And it's been kind of a thorn in my side ever since we did that. And so I'll never do that again.
You feel like you just can't go back on that because you said this is a Kickstarter
Yeah, I can't go back on that now.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like...
You think there'd be more people displeased with that than there would be people pleased?
I don't know if anyone would really care.
Okay.
But just the chance that they would.
Stretch goals. That's maybe another reason that people back a Kickstarter.
That's true, yeah. Because maybe, if I back, I can get more stuff.
Yep.
Or if I back, then I hope, other people are going to back and I'll get more stuff. But usually that can come, a lot of that stuff will come out in stores too. Like, you make it better, like upgraded components, and then if I just wait until it comes out in stores, I'm going to get all the stretch goals in the box that I buy.
Yep.
And then the other thing, like, just to be a part of the campaign. Like, one cool thing we did with Booze Barons was you got your writer friend to do Choose Your Own Adventures. And, then
they're a lot of fun.
Yeah, they're awesome. And so people can kind of follow along, get familiar with the theme and the characters in the game by doing Choose Your Own Adventures. And so, but other things too, the be in the game, or in Booze Barons we let people come up with names of different types of wines, liquors, and beers. And so all of them in the game now were come up with by backers. And they're better than what we came up with.
So things I back because I want to get a discount.
Yep.
I want to get Kickstarter exclusives. I want to do stretch goals. I want to support the creator.
Yep.
I may
make
want
the game better.
to participate in the development of the game. One more,
Right.
to get the game early.
That's true.
To
That's
get
another
the game
Okay.
early, be the first to have it. I think that's significant. That's meaningful to me.
You're a Kickstarter super backer. You've said it several times.
I'm up to 355 projects backed. I checked today.
Why would you... What is the thing that you've gotten the most out of it? Is it simply getting your stuff early? Or is it... don't you get an experience from doing that? Isn't that part of...
And also kind of to go along with that, you kind of scoffed a little bit about the experience part, but I know you have backed people because of, like, they will talk more about the design and the development and stuff, and
that's true.
That might make you back more. That's something I want to do more in my campaigns, is I want to talk more about that in case there are people like you who want that.
I back the guys that share all their Kickstarter data after the fact, because I find that what I'm buying intelligence, and I find that very valuable. Even if I'm not that interested in their game, I may back at the print and play level or something like that, just to kind of see the inside of what they're doing business wise.
Okay.
But I think I'm in a very small minority in that case. I get the impression that that's not so much. For me, one of the big motivator for backer was to support people. Some gal who made a roller derby game. I have very little interest in roller derby or the game, but she was a nice person. This is what I want to do, and it's how I want to support my local league. And I thought, that's cool. I'll back you. And so I back a lot of campaigns for the people behind them, not just the product. But again, I think because Kickstarter was originally envisioned as a patron for the arts, right? And that I want to put on a play, or I want to make a CD, and I need patronage to pull that off.
Otherwise, this thing won't exist in the world.
Now Kickstarter is very mature and
Very much,
jaded
what do I get out
and
of it?
cynical. Yeah, what's in it for me? How many stretch goals can I get? I want custom meeples. I want more stuff.
So we talked a lot about this too when we were designing the campaign. About we've talked in a previous episode about we charge realistic shipping prices. So however much it costs to ship to Australia, that's how much we charged. And so the price was pretty. We were kind of on the high side of shipping charges among Kickstarter campaigns. And are we okay with that? And how much of a discount on MSRP do we give? What's important to backers, and we try to put ourselves in their shoes and say, how much do you need? Could we charge MSRP? I know plenty of creators out there will just charge MSRP for each pledge level to get a copy of the game.
But then the question really is, if I'm paying full price for this game, the same price it's going to cost in the store, why wouldn't I just wait for it to come out in the store, and I can have someone else buy it or read the reviews or decide to pick it up then?
Right.
And there are plenty of very successful campaigns out there that do just charge MSRP, keep a pretty simple campaign, nothing really exclusive.
Ted did that with the third Werewolf, right?
Yep.
The third One Night Werewolf was MSRP.
Bezier and Indie Boards and Cards are, they're two of my favorite companies, and so I follow them very closely. And that's basically what they do. I think they charge exactly MSRP for the games.
I almost didn't back the third Werewolf, and I love those guys for that reason. Because I thought this time around, what I think got me in is I am going to get the game early. But I was like, I have to be paying, and I didn't like the pledge levels, and it was full price, and it's like, I just wait for it in the store. I don't know why I would back this.
But those guys get thousands and thousands of backers.
But they have a huge fan base that participate in that experience, right? And there is some, fear of missing out that can go on, or what they call the bandwagon effect. The music industry knows about this. When you have a big hit album, your next album will initially sell very well for all the people who missed out in buying that first album the first time. Like, oh, another album! I'm going to hop on it this time because last time I was late to the party and I didn't know what everybody else was talking about. And so you can see these spikes on these follow-up albums for that reason. And at least initially, until everybody goes, oh, this one's terrible.
Right.
But you have that initial bump.
Do you find that's true in the gaming industry though? How much buzz could there possibly get from the time that you get it early to the time that anyone could get it in the store? Like, really, how many times do you play it? How much enjoyment do you really get extra than other people doing that? Like, why as a backer is that important to you? Is it
Getting it early? Yeah, sure. So the first One Night Werewolf, you could pick it up. Basically, the way the campaign is, you had to pick it up at a con. You had to pick it up at BGG Con to get it early. But then you would get it, months before it hit stores. So you would come back and you teach your friends who play this game. It's a big multiplayer game. And they're like, oh, Scare is awesome. I'm going to buy it. Oh, you can't.
Yeah.
Not for everybody. I'm the only one that has it.
Right.
And that's kind of cool.
If you want your werewolf fix, you gotta come to Jeremy.
Yeah.
All right,
It's cool to have something early like that pre-release. That's fun, and you can throw a party around that or do an event around that.
So we're talking months of time.
Months of
in
time.
between.
Yeah, months of
Yeah.
time.
There's a pride for having something that nobody else has.
Yeah.
There's a coolness factor. A lot of people do maybe reviews. I used to do those strategy videos where I would take a game and just analyze all the possible strategies and do. But if I was out there first, if I could get it done first, if I could get I remember Coup. I backed Coup back in the day, and I got that out there and I got that strategy video done, and I got tons and tons of hits on that video because I was out there telling people how to win this game before most people had it. And so I think there's a lot of reviewers out there as well who just want to get it first, and so that's one reason they do it, or possibly stores, possibly some retailers who want to have the game first.
So now that's a reason to become a super backer right there, because if you have that that lead time, and now you've got that exclusive game with all of your game playing buddies, you got to chase that dragon because you got to go to the next one and make sure that you constantly have something that nobody else has. Otherwise, that runs out, and the clock on that...
For the Kickstarter exclusives, I have these exclusive cards, these exclusive bits. That's a big deal for people. Like, oh, my version of the game is better than the retail version because it has blah, blah, blah.
Yep. And I think with Euphoria, he had those amazing Euphoria components, like the gold, the real gold, bars of gold in the game. But I think, the Kickstarter exclusive had something, unique about it, the markings on the bottom or one style. So he made those, gold pieces available.
Oh, as the treasure chest.
Yeah, as the treasure chest, but they were a little different.
Yeah.
So you pretty much had the same thing, but there was still something completely unique about getting that Kickstarter one. So I think it was just like a slight differences in like the style, or maybe even just a marking on the bottom. But there's something, you can do that too to kind of make both people happy, or at least not make either side too sad.
So Jamie wrote an article recently that was really good, The Power of Certainty. And he was talking in the example, why do people pay for valet parking? This is driving around and finding a parking spot. And what you're buying is that peace of mind and the certainty that I've got parking now, I don't have to deal with it.
Right.
And people are willing to pay for that.
Insurance.
Insurance, yep.
Yeah.
When you look at a Kickstarter campaign, there are a lot of uncertainties. Is this game any good? Is this guy going to deliver on time? Is the quality of this game going to be good? Or is it going to fall apart in my hands? Is it going to fit in the box? And so you have to give backers something to mitigate that uncertainty. The reason to hop on board. So my favorites are getting the game early, getting a discount. I think getting a discount off of retail is a big deal. I'm going to use the example of Foxtrot, World's Fair. They funded in 24 hours. They funded their campaign right away. And part of that is they said, hey, look, we have no stretch goals. There's no Kickstarter exclusives. I don't think we can give you a little early, but you're getting $10 off of retail. So you're getting, like 20-25% discount if you hop in now. And I think that was a good incentive for a lot of their backers. It worked well for them.
Do you know if that included shipping, or did shipping,
with shipping
push it? Okay,
with
shipping,
with
$10.
Yeah. So the game
impressive.
is yeah. So
but that's risky because you can lose a ton of money on that.
You can, but you can also have a big giant campaign that gets you a lot of buzz. So it's saying, is it worth the cost for buzz or marketing?
Yeah.
To do that, and that's like you said. If you're losing X dollars per copy, and your campaign goes huge, you lose a lot of money. Is that really worthwhile?
Or if you just fund, you might lose money too because you didn't generate. You maybe only generated enough money for half of your print run that you're going to need.
But talking about certainty, so the other things we've talked about in the past is should shipping be included or not included, and Kickstarter is struggling with this right now. It should be shipping and be included in the pledge or not, or after you click, you get the shipping. And so I think that power of certainty is of high value. I think for the USA, which is going to be your primary market, the shipping should be in the pledge level. So you say, hey, if you click and you're in the US, this is what you're paying. And I know I'm certain before I click what I'm paying, I know what it is.
No hidden costs.
It says there right there in the description. If I'm somewhere else in the world, then yeah, I know I'm going to have to pay more for shipping, and then that kicks in. But I would put that in your price shipping for the US.
So a Kickstarter backer should be more discerning about the types of campaign. They should be reading the fine print and making sure that the things that they are getting are actually getting them the benefit that they are looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Kickstarter creators need to give people enough reason to back the campaign as well, so that they don't just go buy it in stores. Yeah, and that's good to hear. These are the things that we're looking for to figure out how to structure our campaigns. And there's no magic bullet, I don't think. And
right.
Each game is different, but
we talked in the last podcast. Don't assume that your opinions are going to be the ones that are prevailing. So I used to think that it is really important that you appear in your Kickstarter video. Because I would back a lot of people, for the project. And I think I'm changing my mind on that now. Because Kickstarter now auto-plays the video with no sound, I think you need to design your video to take advantage of that. So if you have it come on and you're standing there like, hey, I'm so-and-so, and it just plays auto, so I see a dude standing there with no sound, I'm not paying attention to that. Versus if the video starts auto-playing with no sound, and you have a motion graphic come up or an infographic that's telling me about the benefits of the game or your world right away, something that I can visually understand with no sound, and it maybe even has subtitles on the screen. Kickstarter has a subtitle button, and you can embed subtitles in your video, but I wouldn't even do that. I would bake them in your video. So the subtitles are always on. And so as soon as someone goes to your page, they click a link somewhere else and they open it in a new tab, because this is what often happens to me. I've opened things I'm interested in a bunch of tabs. I get over to that tab, and now the videos are already going, and I see the words on the screen, and I see the animations going on, and I thought that was pretty interesting. One of the best Kickstarter videos I've ever seen was for the world's best travel jacket from, I don't know how to pronounce it, Baybacks or Bobacks?
Yep.
Bobacks. World's best travel jacket. They raised $9 million on Kickstarter for a jacket.
Yep.
And then they went to Indiegogo.
Yes.
Went to Indiegogo and raised another $9 million. And I think it was largely on the strength of their video. They have a good product too, but their video was one of the best videos I've ever seen.
Yeah.
That it sells you on the product with no dialogue. No one ever says anything. They show it, and they have text on the screen, and that's it, and it's very animated, and they cut it as a music video with some pretty good music. I went and used Siri to figure out what the music was because I thought that was interesting.
Yep.
And they did a great job with that. That's one I would look at.
I agree. Yeah, that video was amazing.
It was.
And I can see benefit in not having just some dude standing there, the designer. But I know some people do want to see that too.
That's
Do you
changing
think
how people
that the
perceive the
designer
video.
should appear in the video somewhere?
Maybe at the end.
Okay.
Or what I like now is that I've seen campaigns do is it's further down the page. They have a little infographic of the people involved in the game. So again, I'm going to call out World's Fair here for doing a great job, is that they have, hey, here's the publisher, and here's like his face and the name and where he's coming from. Here's the game designer. Here's the artist we hired to do the game, and here's the graphic designer we hired to do the game. And I gave a little blurb about each one and their pedigree. And so, especially if you have a visually complex game, knowing that you have a good artist and you have a good graphic designer gives me more confidence in your game, and I'm more likely to back. Now I have 4 reasons in that little profile to back the game if I like the artist, the graphic designer, the game designer, or the game company publisher.
Sure. I don't know if that would make me want to back a campaign rather than buy it in a store, but I think these are good things to keep in mind.
Since you like to back the people, would you maybe suggest that backers, people that are thinking about backing a campaign, find their favorite games, find those people on Kickstarter, see if they're, putting out product that way, and going after those campaigns? Is that one way that you would suggest, just to make sure that they bring their next thing into the world?
I like when I get an update from a campaign I backed in the past and said, hey, here's what we're doing. Our Kickstarter is going to launch. And I like to hear about it before it launches. In a few weeks, we're going to launch this, and here's what's going to be in it. And I kind of like to get that heads up. And so if I like the creator's previous campaign, I can hop on that one. I would say that be careful about one thing. I have a rule is I don't like to back your second campaign when you haven't fulfilled your first one. Mm-hmm. Right? I haven't received my copy of the game from the first one to really know if it's good and played it yet. Or even then, I may take a few weeks for me to play it. And so if okay, we shipped it, time to start the new campaign. You might want a little bit more padding in between those, so people get the chance to buy your game, to get your game and to play it, and this is cool. And then a few weeks later, now that I'm hungry for more and I've consumed the first game, hit me with the second game.
I heard that, but I've also heard from people too that, like Booze Barons, that they had just gotten, maybe New Salem, then they just got Bombers and Traders, and then now it was too soon.
I haven't worn those out yet. I haven't had a chance to play them.
Yeah.
And so I think you've got to stagger your campaigns so people get their copy, they play it a few times, and now I'm like, now I want more because I've already played through this 3-4 times, and you want to catch them at that moment. And I think I see some Kickstarter, they do like a game, and then they do like an accessory or something else, or maybe an expansion, and then they come back to a new game. Yep. And I think that kind of alternating pattern may work well.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you said you like to back back certain people, and that's one of the big turn-ons for you. Is there any type of people that you wouldn't back, or I should say, anything that would turn you off of backing someone that you like?
Yeah, I said there's a classic mistake I see often. I hear about something that sounds interesting, and I go to Kickstarter to go check it out, and I see, first created, 0 backed. And I thought, you're coming to the Kickstarter community and you're asking, hey, support us, make our dream come true. And you've helped nobody else. You've helped 0 other people in the community. You have 0 community involvement. And it says right there on your page, hey, I don't care about anybody else. Give me your money. And so I think if you are going to launch a Kickstarter campaign, because you know what, no one really checks that, but I just look at the number and how many people click through and see what you backed. You could back 10 campaigns for $1. Right? For $10, count as a marketing expense, or 20 campaigns for $1, count as a marketing expense just to make that look better on your Kickstarter landing page that you have backed a bunch of other stuff. But really, if you truly back some other campaigns and watch them, you'll learn from them and you'll learn from their mistakes and not make those mistakes yourself.
I do that. I definitely
do that too.
Oh yeah. I also look at what they backed.
Yeah.
And it does. I mean, there is an argument as well that maybe I backed under Brian Henk, but then I'm launching this campaign under Overworld Games. So people might have another campaign, but at least in your bio, explain that.
If you're going to run a Kickstarter, you should make your account and start backing some projects you like, even if you only back for like $5. Yeah. Watch the updates, learn from their campaign, participate in the community, and I am more likely to back you.
Well, I've been your host, Richard New. You've been watching the Forbidden Limb podcast. I'm here as always with Brian Hink and Jeremy Commander. Hope you've enjoyed yourself, and I'll see you across the table someday.
Hey, Richard here to remind you to check out our guild on BoardGameGeek.com. Search for Forbidden Limb under podcasts. Drop us an idea for a future episode or comment on a previous entry. And if you feel like supporting us, you can go to patreon.com. That's patreon.com. Search for Forbidden Limb there as well. Donations are used for equipment to improve the presentation of our podcast. Thanks for watching or listening.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.